Hello, welcome on Watchmaking, welcome on Primetime, Watchmaking in the news, and today we're introducing a little different concept as you guys used to be, used to. I enjoyed so much the other day when we did this multiple talk with Gianfranco Richard about the GPHG, so I thought, okay, well maybe it could be a good idea to evolve again with Primetime, and today we have a special guest. So this is Jean-Christophe Teigner. We've known each other for quite some years, I have to say.
Ouais.
Yeah, goes back. You've been involved in the world of watchmaking, being the marketing director of a few brands, and today you're more on the academical sector. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much for welcoming me. It's a pleasure for me to be here. So yes, as you said, my name is Jean-Christophe. Now I work for a school, Créa, and I'm in charge of Master and Bachelor marketing programs in the luxury field. And that's it.
Exactly. So we'll be talking with a bit of his academical insight on a few things that we're going to cover, because obviously we're going to talk about business, we're going to talk about new watches, and we have like a nice little program prepared for you guys. So let's start with very quickly regarding the GPHG. And you guys hopefully have seen our little extended report on the results. But again, big congratulations for IWC for the golden hands. And I have a question for you. What is the impact, do you believe, of the GPHG for the brands?
Honestly, it's quite important. The smaller you are in terms of size, the more important it is for you. And if you talk about brands like IWC, but even more for the previous ones, such as Bulgari, the objective for them is to gain credibility and visibility among the collector base. And with that price, you gain immediately that credibility. If I say immediately, not really. I mean, it's like you need to repeat the effort for a couple of years, but really you gain that visibility. And on top, the GPHG now is going all over the world. So they are connecting with all the collectors, Chinese, Americans, I mean, everywhere. So frankly, it's a great push for all the players, the big ones, even Bulgari, and the small ones, which want to gain a name. So it's perfect.
Okay, well, I guess for IWC, the timing is right for these guys, and we'll get back on this because we're going to talk business, of course. And for those who have good eyes, maybe you noticed I have something a little bit special here on my wrist. This is the new 8P Royal Oak concept, limited to 250 pieces, the one that is following a little bit in the footsteps of the Spider-Man and the Black Panther. But we'll get back on this at the end of the show. Ta-da! All right, so let's continue with business and talk about Vacheron Constantin, who are introducing their CPO program. This is something not completely new, I would say, for them, because more than 10 years ago they had introduced kind of a similar system, but only for their vintage pieces that you could buy in their own boutiques. But now with this CPO, they actually want to probably reach out to a much wider range of customer. Within this program, you get a 2-year warranty on these watches, full warranty. So if anything happens, you're fully covered. Plus, you have like kind of a digital certificate that is handed to you that will be put in the blockchain. You also have like a paper certificate for the show, let's say. But this program first will be only available through Watchfinder, which belongs also to Richemont, so there's a link there, but soon will be introduced to most of their retailers. So again, CPO, we've seen big brands going there.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the purpose of this program?
I don't know if I have the answers, but at least I have a point of view.
That's good enough.
It's good enough?
Yes,
let's see.
That's good enough.
So after Rolex, after AP, it's the time of Vacheron Constantin. For me, the different reason is, the first one is going CSR, corporate social responsibility. So giving a second life to every single watch, that's quite important. The second is, it might not be the case for Vacheron if the pieces are more expensive at the second end, but it's to gain the Gen Z. Honestly, they are looking after, they cannot afford probably retail price watches, so they might go for second hand. Will that be the case for Vacheron? I'm not sure. And a third aspect as well is to measure your brand equity. What is your reselling price? The higher you are, the better you are in terms of business and opportunity. And
but this you can already assess basically on platforms like Chrono24 or things like that, can't you?
You can, but if you manage everything yourself, I guess you can tweak it as well.
Yeah,
in a way.
Well, I guess also it makes the entire process a little bit more cumbersome because, I mean, when you have a watch for sale and you get it back to Vacheron, then they need to send it back to the factory, they need to do all these tests on it, and then, I mean, it does make things, it's not an easy thing to put in place.
No, it's harder, but then if you control the entire chain, at the end, the value can only be higher.
That's true.
Especially in terms of customer service, that reinsure the final client, saying, okay, it has been through the Vacheron Constantin manufacturer, I'm safe.
Yeah.
So that gives added value for the future to those pieces.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about big brands and their CPO programs, but the many smaller outfits, small independent brands that have already put in place these type of programs also.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is going there. I think it's a must. I mean, again, if you're talking about a CSR perspective, I think it's interesting that you are buying a watch for the next generation, not like Patek, but I bought a couple of watches that will go. It's already gone to my kids. So that aspect is having a watch for life is important. So having CPO in that range of CSR is, I think, is a must these days.
And I mean, a watch by definition is a sustainable product.
It's a sustainable product.
So, yeah. All right. So still talking about Vacheron, and it's this time of the year for these guys is they're introducing generally at the end of the year their new cabinotier pieces. Cabinotier is their exclusive department where they do only pièces uniques. So you can come there as a private customer, collector, come with your wish list basically, and they will do that for you. Or Vacheron actually produces themselves based on a theme, some watches that you can purchase directly with them. Obviously, those are quite expensive pieces, but it's normal because, I mean, there's a high level of craftsmanship over there, and you're getting a pièce unique. So this year's theme is Le Temps Divin, the kind of golden time. Divine time, put it more like this. And they came up with 9 pieces, 4 pieces are expressing the world of seasons, spring, summer, you get it. And all those 4 pieces are just a beautiful demonstration of wood marquetry, and personally, wood marquetry on dials, I think is just absolutely stunning. They're all tourbillon watches. They cater a little bit more to the Asian culture with dragons and white tiger and things like that. But I mean, it's obviously really beautiful pieces, pretty thin also. Then you have 2 new other pieces that are expressing the linear time, and for this, obviously, well, what better than a retrograde display to express this? It comes with their I always get this name wrong, so I will just read it out, but it's this armillary biaxial tourbillon. Very impressive piece, beautifully engraved on the side. Okay, just stunning. And another 3 pieces, this time expressing metaphysical time, so we're a bit in the dreamy territory and more linked with the Japanese culture. And here they're showcasing engraving and enameling techniques. Absolutely stunning, and always a pleasure to see that. I haven't seen them in real, no, unfortunately.
But you're talking well about them, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen so many of them before, and each time I was just so impressed. I mean, it's just like, it's very...
It's Christmas soon. Treat yourself well.
Well, maybe not with these ones. I mean, photos will do the job. No,
Okay.
actually, being able just to see them would be actually already pretty good. Anyhow, so now let's talk a little bit of marketing buzz here, because we've just seen the first signs of the revival of Universal Genève. They're back, yeah. So we've been talking about them already a few times before. I mean, it's a brand that for whom people have a lot of affection.
Yes.
Collectors love this brand since many, many years, and it's been idle for quite a while. It's been bought for an immense amount of money, just for a name basically, by Breitling and Georges Kern.
Breitling Group.
Breitling Group, let's put it this way, indeed, last year. And to do things right, I mean, they said, okay, well, they will take their time. And actually, the first collections will come out in 2026. So it's still a bit down the road. But they need to occupy the kind of territory, say, we're coming, guys. And to
we have seen a post of Georges Kern a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn. So it was a preceding. And now they are coming a bit.
They're coming a bit. And to do so, they're introducing 3 pieces, with the 3 obviously pièces uniques in the Paul Reuter collection. It's a kind of an upgraded version of the Paul Reuter. The case is a bit more modern, but it's still kind of, it's a fine tribute to the original Paul Reuter. And they did so because, okay, there goes the marketing. To celebrate the 70th anniversary of the first transatlantic flight made by the Scandinavian airline SAS that used the North Pole route, which was kind of a big breakthrough in terms of reducing the distances between, I mean, crossing from the Europe to the US. And on the way back too. So those 3 pieces are more like kind of testimonials. Again, a way of saying, we're here and we're coming. And 1 piece will be sold at auctions in May of next year. The 2 other pieces will remain in the kind of museum of the brand. So, question now. Universal, like I said, people like the brand, but at the time it was not, I mean, it was, okay, it's a nice brand, but it wasn't perceived as being, it's not Patek. I mean, okay, it's been kind of a popular brand, okay. And it seems now, and this is kind of a first statement there, that they want to position the brand really, really high with this.
High, very high. Anyway, above Breitling,
yeah,
apparently.
well, that's for sure, and that's legitimate. I would imagine. I would say, but to what extent they can they go there without losing this kind of truthfulness to the original positioning of the brand?
I mean, looking at who they recently hired to do their movements, Grégory Brutin, they might go high or very high. So let's see. I think we can expect some exceptional movement mechanism. So we'll see. I guess sky's the limit. Knowing a bit Georges, it will not stop. It will not stop there. There will be nice stories all along. It's interesting that they are launching this piece because that makes a real connection with Breitling on aviation. And the storytelling with Georges is always amazing and perfect. So now let's see the pieces. Those 3 pieces are.
But remember when Georges Kern took back Breitling, he said, okay, enough of this aviation thing and like that, drop the wings, drop everything and so forth. And then he kind of soon realized, well, that was kind of a mistake, right?
He did it without doing it.
Well, he said he would explore
other routes, but he knows that aviation is quite big for the brand. He retouched the logo, but at the end, the brand quadruple in terms of turnover.
Incredible success.
Incredible success. So,
despite the fact that it seems that it's a bit more complicated for them this year.
I mean, it's
like for everybody.
But yeah, it's complex for everyone. We can come back to that later. But it's complex for everyone. So I think he did a great job with Breitling. Now he's testing a new story with Universal. I'm pretty sure it's going to be successful. Yeah. It might take a couple of years.
Yeah, it probably will. I mean, we know that they have I mean,
as you
power, will, and expertise.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they have the money behind because the Universal was not cheap. But it's never cheap, just like Breitling was. But now the value of Breitling is what, 1 billion, something like that. I'm not even sure.
The guys to whom they resold the kind of a Swiss investment fund, it makes the valuation of Breitling above 4 billion, and the guy that bought it said, "I'm not sure he made the best deal out of that one, but I mean it's." Yeah, that's a kind of a strong statement. 4 billion, where even more than that, evaluation of the company. But here, I mean, again, I just hope they won't go too high
in terms of pricing.
Pricing, because then you lose the connection with what Universal was.
Well, I mean, anyway, if the price is super high, I would encourage you to buy all the vintage pieces you see everywhere. If there is any leftover, go and buy them.
Yeah. Well, they probably thought the same also.
It's done already, guys. Well done.
Probably. All right, let's move on. And well, now it's official. Only Watch is over. This year's edition, the 10th edition, was the last edition. We just had a press release from the Only Watch people saying that, okay, now they will focus more basically on their research. I mean, they've amassed more than 130 million Swiss francs over the years, so there's a little cagnotte, like we say, a little some money there available for what they're doing. But the thing that we want to mention, I mean, is like, this was, okay, it served a cause, and then it's a very honorable cause, of course, and no question about that, and the legitimacy of also, defending this cause for Luc Petavino. But at one point, I think it really got more like a communication platform for brands.
Yeah, we were using it. I remember at my time on the brand side, we were using it as a marketing platform in order to value your equity again, and then attract as well other collectors, because you would know that Patek was there, all the key competitors were there, so you wanted to meet with them and introduce your piece to those guys. So you wanted to be there, but that's the point. Marketing is good. I think you need it to raise the attention behind such a noble cause. Too much marketing, it's probably killing the project.
Counter effect.
So it's always a fine balance to find. Nevertheless, Luc Petavino is such a nice guy, so we look forward to see what is going to happen.
I mean, most importantly, I hope indeed that we will see significant breakthrough in terms of on the medical side,
on the research side.
On the research side, yeah. All right. So talking about auctions. Let's continue with auctions, and we've just come out of very intense days here in Geneva, and we won't go
intense? Really intense?
Well, yes and no. I mean, no, it was intense because we were just filming one day after the other these auctions. I mean, that was really quite something. It was our auction marathon of the year, moment of the year. Anyhow, so I mean, lots were sold, practically white glove everywhere. But there's things that need to be said about that. We've seen incredible performance by some lots. I mean, Journe is always doing. It's crazy, incredible. Yeah, I mean, just a little story at Philips.
We love those stories, so share with us.
All right. Well, there was a Tourbillon Souverain, one of his first. That was the first. I mean, that was sold there, and. Well, the auction started quite slowly, like 100, 150, and then immediately one guy went, all in, 5 million.
This is the Adam and Eve moment for not only François-Paul Journe and later his company, but also for many more independent watchmakers to follow. I start right away at 1 million Swiss francs. Pardon me?
So that was kind of, closed the debate rather quickly. But nonetheless, it continued. It continued until...
So he sold He would kill the game? No.
Yeah, no. It did continue, but I mean, that was quite a statement, and the guy, yes, really wanted it. So that went up to 6 million, so more or less, a bit more than 7 million, including the commission and so forth. But that's an immense price, amount of money for such a watch. Other Journe also went pretty well. Another example, there was a full set of the Ruthenium collection that was sold. And there was this same guy who wanted the 5 pieces, of course. And on one of the lots, another guy wanted it. It was on the Resonance piece.
Ah, yeah?
And that Resonance went for more than 400, so with commission more than 500. That's a lot of money for a Resonance from Journe, even though, I mean, we love this watch. Everyone loves this watch.
Yes.
But that one went really, I mean, that collector got the other 4, but I mean, yeah, too
It's a
bad
good
for
piece.
them. Yeah, so he got the box also afterwards, but he had to fight for that one also. Anyhow, okay, coming back on the results, or the tendency that we witnessed.
Yeah.
Okay, so indeed, rarity, quality is still rewarded.
Yeah, it goes to the roof.
Yeah, that's so.
But it's a couple of pieces.
Well, a bit more than that, actually. But I mean, it's so when you say, crisis, you say, well, what crisis, basically, when you're attending these auctions. But indeed, on the more kind of ordinary pieces and more contemporary, I mean, kind of recent pieces, well, quite a few of them didn't reach retail. Even despite the fact that they were pushed by those auction houses. So those are indeed quite concrete signs of the slowdown that we've been talking about, and we'll get back to this in a second. But it kind of showcases quite explicitly that things are a little bit tougher right now.
Yeah, it's getting softer and softer, huh? We'll talk about that.
Yes, but indeed, some lots went really well. A Breguet was sold at Christie's for more than 1 million, a beautiful piece. So that was a good sign for people acknowledging exactly what this piece means and then are willing to pay for it, and fight for it. I mean, it's just an example, but indeed, so Patek went well. APs was kind of questionable. I mean, the big hype around the brand has a little bit faded, that's for sure. But again, we'll talk about this in a little bit. And then, the regular, independents doing not too bad. Also, some young independents for which, for the first time, they had some of their lots. Obviously, went, quite spectacularly well, and not to mention our neighbor next door, Créa, who's for the first time one of his watch went over 1 million. Not considering the watch that was sold at our only watch this spring, but yeah, it went above 1 million. That's quite an achievement.
Yes,
that is quite crazy. Yeah, spectacular.
When did he create the company?
A bit around 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
A bit more than 10 years.
Quite an achievement, huh?
Yeah, no, incredible achievement.
Well, the pieces,
yeah,
I guess, outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about Créa, talking about GPHG, this gives me the perfect excuse to talk about a guy that I've talked about it last time on Primetime, but we did this portrait of Jean-Pierre Agman. And we haven't published it yet because if we had to, it would have been more or less over the last few days. And there was so much news things happening. I said, okay, let's not put it in the wrong context. And this video will come out. But actually, it got even better because our good friend Jean-Pierre Agman got acknowledged. His talent got acknowledged by the jury of the GPHG. Ta-da! And he received, obviously, a special award. So, it's Jean-Pierre Agman's year, 84-year-old, but he got the Gaia Prize and now the GPHG Prize for his career. I mean, that makes us absolutely happy. And his performance on stage was absolutely fantastic. And he just cited all the brands he worked for, just thanking them. It was fun.
For 25 minutes. Yeah. Because the guys was working for everybody.
Yeah, but when he says it, he's just such a fun character. I really love it.
Sweet guy.
Absolutely,
really sweet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to business.
Yes.
And to some trends, because a few important numbers have come out recently.
Yeah, Bain & Company last Wednesday basically delivered the big news, huh? The entire luxury industry is slowing down. So it's flat or minus 2%. So what you have seen at the auction, you know, the tip of the iceberg is still doing well. So the ultra luxe, the uber luxury is still doing well. But then the entry price segments and the mid segments are suffering. So if, you know, what we are saying is, and what we are seeing right now, you know, there is no drama at the end. Huh? No. It's flat. Yeah. But we haven't seen that for the last 8-9 years. Yeah. So a real slowdown. And especially in the watch industry and the shoe industry as well. Both categories are suffering. So it's the personal goods that are suffering. Jewelry is still fine or even doing okay, better. But if you look at the numbers, I think it's minus 17 for Richemont, for all the watches brand.
Yeah, because so their numbers just came out
as well at the same period.
So performance. Yeah.
We have the big picture now. I mean, China, they are not buying, or they travel to Japan to buy their pieces. Even though recently the Japanese realigned their prices, so now they don't travel back. So maybe they are gonna come soon to Switzerland to buy their pieces. So China really decreasing, US flat, or nothing great there.
Yeah, but still, I mean, the US is I mean, the biggest market for many brands today.
Yeah, but if you know, it's still the biggest market. But if it's not growing, your entire company is not growing. So what is important to see is...
And you have another thing. I mean, with the election and the impact of this, what this could have in terms of tariffs being applied, and if you put a plus 10, 20% on import taxes, that would increase significantly the price of some watches. I think, I mean, on the high-end pieces, it won't make too much of a difference. But for the mid-range sector, this will have an impact. Yeah.
So if you see that, you know, book your ticket to Geneva, come and see us. We will make some special trip to Rue des Rhônes where you can buy all your watches. We will put the appointments on. You know, you can, honestly, with the tax increase that can come or might come, that pays your ticket to come to Switzerland.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And say hi.
Exactly. Yeah, but okay, coming back on the luxury sector, it's true that watches are probably the one that are the biggest, the most hit today. And
but I can give you 3 reasons for that. The first one, that basically the Gen Z cannot afford anymore with the inflation. So they are switching to other categories. Okay. Second, the post-COVID revenge purchase craziness is over. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. For 2 years, I mean, you could not buy the top watches. Huh? You had to beg to get one watch. And then the third aspect is that they are not buying any more product, they are buying experiences. And that's quite important, especially for the watch industry, is how in the coming months, coming years, all the brands, the maison, small and big, are going to deliver an experience rather than just a watch. So we'll see what's going to happen. So I guess they will open the doors of their manufacturer more often and things like that, or how they can, you know, portray more or transfer that credibility in China, in US, and doing some road shows.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously this house knows this pretty well. I mean, with the development, important development of those AP houses throughout the world.
Yeah, and they continue that because now they just opened Mexico City. They have done it in Milan. I think it's a very nice idea. And I guess you are spending such a good time when they are there. So it's definitely a good idea to do that.
But you still need to sell more or less 50,000 watches per year. So is that the only solution?
No. I mean, it cannot be. I mean, again, I would say normal full spiel. Your game is credibility, visibility, image, and then driving traffic to your point of sales, whatever it is. It can be e-commerce, it can be your boutique, your retailer, your wholesaler. And maybe talking about that, wholesaler and retailers might be back in the game. In tougher times, the retailers sometimes, not sometimes, but they have been building some brands in the past. So, strategies from some big groups of cutting and going only with retail is always great when, the economy is growing. When the economy is suffering, to attract customers to your shop, it's even harder if you are helped by someone else and a retailer, Alfardan of this world. It goes faster to recover.
Of course, yeah. And the thing also, with the example of the AP houses, is that it enables them to reconnect quite efficiently with their local customer base, and develop this one. Because sometimes, we were talking a lot about travel retail for a long time, but this one, it's important to cater to the guys that are just next to you.
Yes. And on top of AP house, they need to deliver. We don't see everything that they are doing, but they are really into, talking about AP, they are really into music. They are really at the age in terms of trends, either sports, cinema, music. So they are in all those territories that make sense and that give that hype. So will that last? That's the big question. Are they at the top right now? 2 billion for one collection. Yes. At the end, it's pretty impressive. Absolutely. Can they go higher? We'll see. Anyway, for all the maisons, including AP, 2004 is a challenge. Let's see for 2025. And for us, anyway, we will be able to find some nice pieces. So as a collector...
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Yeah. You will find good pieces. You won't be excluded from the shops anymore. They won't say, no, you can. Yeah. Now they will expect you and they will offer you the coffee or even the champagne for some of them.
Nice. But you still have to, as a luxury brand, you still have to manage quite intelligently the scarcity, the demand and things like that. It's part of the game, basically.
Yes, it's part of the game. True. Yes. But at the end, they all want to sell. Come on, you can play a game. We can be.
That's true.
But at the end, you need to sell your pieces, or if not, your stock is up to the roof.
Well, actually, and we know about stocks being,
shipped back.
Yeah, shipped back, and there's quite some big stocks out there on the market currently. Unfortunately.
I remember.
And we know how this could end up. We've been there. The watch industry kind of repeats some cycles, and we'll see if they'll handle this one in a more clever way. Who knows? We'll see, and we'll keep positive, of course.
I like the voice you're We'll see if they are clever.
Well, you talked about coming to Geneva, and we just got some news for you because we just got the dates of the next edition of the Geneva Watch Days that will take place between the 4th and the 7th of September of next year. And this event, is obviously a really lovely one. So if you can come during Watches and Wonder, that's also, a great time to come. But beginning of September, we still have generally nice weather and so forth. And it's a very enjoyable moment. I don't know to what extent they can make it bigger than what it is, because you have, a fine balance between doing something that is friendly, casual, and if you go too big, then you might lose a little bit of that spirit.
Yeah, you have really a strong relationship, and you can really talk to the owners of the companies. You can introduce yourself, and they will show you the pieces. That's really a very nice format of an event under the patronage of Breitling again,
yes.
And Bulgari. That event was created, and it's managed by our Secretary General Catherine Eberle. Two thumbs up. Kudos, Catherine. Really well done. And I've seen that as well. The FHH was connected with Geneva Watch Days. So it's interesting because it's creating really a good vibe at the end of the summer. Yeah. Everybody is happy to go back to work. So kill two birds with one stone. Come to the next Geneva Watch Days and buy a watch at the same time and get reimbursed thanks to the tax increase done by the next administration in the US.
Yeah, and he's not getting paid by the Geneva tourism department.
I could know, but
maybe now you can apply for that. Yeah, that's for sure. All right. So let's talk, continue this prime time, and we'll talk Patek very quickly, because I mean, just to follow up a little bit on this, there was just such a wave of indignation for some, and I mean, it was just so much controversy, and people, just was bound to happen, obviously, with
about
the Cubitus.
The Cubitus Radius Cumulonimbus?
Whatever,
that one?
yes, that one, exactly.
Okay, we love Patek.
Yeah, of course.
Don't be mistaken.
Yeah.
We love Patek.
But, okay, a lot of people, talking about it, but it just proved, I mean, first of all, they launched the watch, the next day it was in the store. So that's
well done.
Well done, indeed. And second day after that, well, they were already flipped, some of them, with a strong premium. So that just proves, demonstrates again quite well, the power of the brand.
Yes, I mean, it's great. A lot of haters, and I would say, haters are great, because at least it gives you some voice and some noise all around the world. So you get that buzz, and it's like, honestly, the watch, I find it, I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Find it just a little bit too close to the Nautilus. That's the only thing.
Because you're a purist, but
it's just, they could have given a little bit of a different identity. I mean, the bracelet is clearly Nautilus style, the dial also, and things like that. But this will come. I'm pretty sure.
The only issue I see is on the back on the movement. I would have loved a square plate.
We've talked about that already.
But
this is like,
apart from that, but then I've seen recently on LinkedIn the latest campaign, the TV spot. All right, cheesy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. You'll discover it, because I saw it on LinkedIn. I guess it's a bit cheesy. Guys, you could do better on the communication side. Okay. Just a side note. I still love you.
We don't expect any revolutionary campaign from them, for sure.
But cheesy was like...
Okay, well, now I'm really looking forward to seeing this one.
Yeah, it's a guy receiving a perfect watch from his wife and giving him a kiss. That's great. It's like image d'Épinal.
Okay,
it's like
cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. All right, great.
Okay,
still another Patek little story, and this.
But if there is a watch left over, I'm happy to wear it.
Okay.
I would never be able to afford it, as you said, Monsieur Stern. Okay, it's fine.
It's fine, indeed. There's plenty of people around.
Plenty of people, and I'll be very happy for them.
Absolutely.
So,
another little Patek story, but this is kind of a follow-up on the kind of a drama that has been happening here for quite a few years. So basically, Yoko Ono, John Lennon's wife, offered him a watch for his 40th anniversary. This watch was, it was a 24.99. Sorry about that. Mr. Lennon passed away just a few months after that. Shot, let's say. And a bit later on, this watch got stolen from Yoko Ono by her chauffeur. The chauffeur then sold it to another guy that put it on auction in Germany, and an Italian collector bought it for 600,000 euro. Okay, got the watch, and probably said, okay, well, this one has some historical significance. I can make an easy buck with that. So he had it appraised here in Geneva at one of the auction houses. And when this house got to see the watch, well, they were a little bit dubious and said, well, there's something fishy with this one. And it turned out that Yoko Ono's attorney said, okay, no, this was stolen. It doesn't belong to that collector. Obviously, the collector, after having spent 600,000 euros, said, no, there was no way he was going to let go of his watch. But the watch was seized. There was a first ruling from the Geneva court giving the ownership of the watch back to Yoko Ono. There was an appeal. Again, same conclusion. He went for a further appeal, but this time at the Swiss Federal Supreme Court level. And the verdict has just fallen. And the watch is indeed Mrs. Yoko Ono's property. ta-da! So the guy, obviously now he just said a definite goodbye to his 600,000 euros.
Now he has this song in mind. Imagine all the money.
Yeah,
But it's
well,
gone.
it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Just proving again that provenance is extremely important. This needs to be properly documented if you don't want to take any risks. And just, it can be a tricky world, this world of second-hand and auction and things like that. I mean, we've heard so many stories. There you would think that, okay, by buying through an auction house, or this German house, I don't know which one it was, but they would do some kind of due diligence and things like that. But again, even with big names, we've heard not so nice stories. So just be a little bit careful. Again, the world of auctions and secondhand is all based on trust. And you have to build this trust, and this trust can be just shattered very quickly with a story just as this one.
Yes.
All right.
So coming back to the CPO business, I think it's a good idea because at least you have the full transparency.
Exactly. No, that's a very good point indeed. All right. Next news, Bulgari, which is indeed trying to muscle up even more their credibility as a fine watchmaker. Well, they've just opened a new atelier, a new workshop of métier d'art in Seigneur-Légier, that's in the Jura, and showcasing what they kind of mastering now internally. So they benefited, or used the fact that during the GPHG there were so many journalists that came from all over the world to take them up the mountain to showcase all this, and again shows that métier d'art is something that brings a lot of legitimacy to brands, especially when you're talking really high-end pieces, and that's what people are looking for. So for you, this notion of métier d'art, again, it can be perceived sometimes as marketing. Not on, the people that are doing it, the craftsmen and so forth, they're all super authentic and legitimate. But
they are legends, huh?
Yeah.
They are legends. Yeah. Honestly, you go up in the Jura, and those guys, they are quite simple,
or
honest.
Even in Geneva, we have beautiful artisans too. Okay?
No,
you don't have to climb up. I just want to remember your mission. Remember your mission with the Geneva State Department of Tourism. Okay.
So, true. So stay in Geneva forever.
Okay.
But
coming
they are
back.
doing a great job. Bulgari, great job, and they are consistent over the year. Mm-hmm. So after that, they opened that that manufacturer, on the minute repeater. Mm-hmm. The minute repeater done at Bulgari is just awesome. Mm-hmm. I learned so many things. I was really blown away. So now going into craftsmanship, they are continuing their expansion in other territories to master them. Mm-hmm. And behind the direction of or under the direction of Jean-Christophe Teigner, another great Jean-Christophe. Basically, they are following that strategy of gaining credibility year after year, and you can see the results. They are legitimate now. Mm-hmm.
Well, they've made this point with all these kind of ultra-thin watches going from one record to the other over a few years, and just pushing. But obviously, these watches are more kind of a technical demonstration, so in a certain way. That's done. On the jewelry side, of course, that's more than done, and actually I have to say that this year's Bulgari piece that was at the GPHG in the jewelry category was so impressive, I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay, it was retailing for 2.7 or something
exactly,
like that.
2.7,
yeah. But it was just the piece, again, typically those are the type of things that, you see pictures, and when you see in real,
it's not the same.
Yeah, it's really two different worlds. It's just, but it didn't win.
It didn't win. That's the...
Yeah.
Chopard?
Chopard won, yeah. And again, that's a watch that you also had to see and feel, because you really grasped the level of extreme craftsmanship that was behind this piece. Okay, that is
we could spend 1 hour on that.
Okay, so on Bulgari, indeed, increasing their legitimacy in the world of watchmaking with this high craftsmanship. Also, they mentioned that they will soon develop their own manufacture, meaning that they will produce themselves their own movement. Most of them have been outsourced for the time being.
For the entry price, yes.
Even on the high ones.
Yes?
Yeah. Not all of them, but I mean,
okay.
So so it's just also a way of saying, okay, well, we do think this manufacture will be in Neuchâtel. Okay, let's talk what I have here on the wrist. So yeah, this is the new Royal Oak concept, like I mentioned, that was done in collaboration with US artist KAWS from New York. And one of his characteristic is obviously to use this kind of Mickey Mousey skull piratey type of shape with small bones looking like little ears, and this is what you're getting in this watch. So the other watches that came prior to this, like I said, the Spider-Man and the Black Panther, I mean, had more of a kind of a cartoonish little feel to it. I remember very well when it came out. I mean, again, big controversy. How can you do these kind of things, you know? But like I was saying at the time, you know, with these kind of watches, you're opening up your clientele base because you're reaching out to a different audience and
yes.
a wider audience. And these guys, if it's one way of getting into watchmaking and then expanding from there, fantastic. You know, I've got nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we're talking limited edition, but it's still a limited edition of 250 pieces, which is quite something.
And the retail price?
We don't want to know.
You don't want to know?
It's also in the 250 type of thing.
All right. Yeah, 250 makes sense.
No, I don't know exactly the
okay.
but I mean it's
but it's quite unique,
no, it is very unique. But I have to say this one, I mean, I find it pretty cool. It's.
I must say, I'm a bit jealous, huh?
Yeah, no, okay, it's not mine, to be sure, to be precise. So this watch, the thing that is interesting, it's of course it's on some of its characteristics. It's all made out of titanium, but it's all the treatment of the surfaces are very different. So it mixes sandblasting. There's very different various finishing techniques. So you have all these kind of different shades of gray, actually, which makes it a little bit more, well, not technical, I would say, but it's a bit more, the other ones could be perceived, even though there was a lot of craftsmanship behind, but they could be perceived a bit more like being gimmicky. Yeah. This one has a bit more of a watchmaking feel to it, I think. And this figurine that is this companion that wants to kind of get me out of here. I find it quite amusing. And one of the characteristics of this figurine is that I mentioned the skull, but it has those X-shaped eyes, and that's a feature that you will find also on the various screws that you find on the bezel. So it's very different than what we're accustomed with the straight screws and so forth. These are, there's a little bit, well, I mean, it's not the main feature of this watch, of course, but I mean, it's nonetheless pretty cool and coherent, I would say.
It fits you well, huh?
Well, I mean, I have rather small wrist, and this is it's just 43 millimeter. It's quite thick, but I mean that's the
with
concept.
The titanium is light.
Yeah, and it's the concept of the
offshore.
Of the offshore. So I mean, you don't expect anything less. It's a tourbillon watch, and the tourbillon is you can more or less barely see it. It's in the middle between those hands, so it doesn't make it just like this is like a technical show-offy prowess that you want to. It's more kind of your little thing that Yeah, by the way, it's a tourbillon piece. All right, one little thing I forgot to mention about this piece concerns its time display, because for the first time you have a peripheral system for the hour and the minute hand. Pretty cool feature, and actually it glows also in the dark. Nice. So now coming back on the purposefulness of such a watch for a brand like AP, what is the message that you perceived coming out of doing these kind of series?
Do I see a message behind?
Yeah. Oh, one thing I just wanted to add also is that, I mean, this watch has been the project started like a bit more than 2 years ago, so it was still under the influence of Mr. Benamias.
You can see it clearly.
Okay, well, because I mean, so please, express your thoughts.
Exactly that one. You can say that, or you can tell that Mr. Benamias was behind that project. So now that is gone, will Ilaria Resta go in the same territory, other territory, or they don't need that? Now the AP territory is that one? That will be the big question. I think these days the collectors are a bit puzzled. I think that's the later species that we will see. So which territory they will go? That's interesting, and how much or how far they will push the boundaries in terms of which territories. Will they go somewhere else? They stop golf now, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
So they are still in music, big time.
Yeah.
They are friends with Ed Sheeran. I mean, it's like cool guy. I mean, they are friends with this group, Swedish group, I think, the new Daft Punk from the Nordic countries. I mean, that's a cool brand.
Yeah.
That's a cool brand. They have cool collectors behind. I guess now there is a question mark for them, is where does it go?
Yeah.
We'll see, I cannot tell. The issue, or what I can face, is using too much. You know, it's like what we said about the foundation of Luc Pétavino. Too much marketing, only watch, talking about only watch. Too much marketing kill the marketing and kill the brand. So it's like, how far can they go with those concepts, still being relevant for the brand and for the collectors? What new category of clients they want to attract, where in the world, and what do they love?
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah. But I mean, before, I mean, you were talking about cheesiness a little bit. I mean, I think what they do is pretty.
No.
It's really.
It's cool.
Avant-garde.
It's hype.
I mean, it's
It's
hype.
hype.
It's
Yeah,
really
it's
hype.
hype.
You know,
I mean, all the
their
ambassadors,
communication platform. I mean, their movies, their pictures, everything is just like looks pretty cool.
It is super cool. Honestly.
And it's going to be, by the way, it's going to be next year. It's going to be the 150th anniversary of the brand. So I'm sure we're in for quite some
Okay, one
things.
each for all of us. The last point I want to make on that is that would be cool to discover which experience they are going to deliver with that watch that goes on top of the watch. And that would be super smart. That would be super smart. Where do they go? Would they go and meet the guy for every single purchaser or collector that will acquire this timepiece? We'll see. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, AP has been involved with the world of modern art, contemporary art for quite a while. They've been sponsors of Art Basel for a while. I mean, there's a coherence there.
From A to Z.
Yeah. There's no question. There's no opportunism, I would say, in this. I mean, they do follow a kind of a logical path.
It's a really cool hype brand.
Yeah.
No, the hype. Can you make a hype for that long? That will be the question.
Yeah, out of the big brands, they're the one that got, I must say, quite hit the worst in terms of, I mean, because it went in both directions. I mean, the hype around their pieces, meaning like you walk out to the shop and you just sell it for 3 times the price, is quite.
But we're not the collectors they wanted, huh?
No, indeed. But so this has gone down quite significantly, but overall, it's still costing more anyhow and so forth than the retail price. I mean, where's the problem? You know,
no, there is no problem. In the waiting list, they don't contact the first one, now they contact the 10th one, number 10, so it's okay. They still have people. So the question is not the collectors, it's more where do we go in terms of territory, product design, inspiration. Behind.
Well, this is indeed also, like you mentioned before about, this is Ilaria Resta as a kind of a new responsibility, indeed. I mean, François Benamias was just such a character, let's put it that way, and pretty vocal, loud, and and he had all this kind of. I mean, he was very comfortable in all this kind of rappy scene and so forth, with sports guys and so forth. And I mean, obviously had a lot of personality in the way the brand developed. Put a lot of his personality, and quite successfully, we can say.
From the US to the rest of the world.
It's, so now, indeed, it's going to be interesting to see what are the directions the brand.
And I think the collectors are expecting that as well.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, I mean, with the 150th anniversary, that's, it's a strong occasion to, again, come back on where you come from. because AP is not Royal Oak only. I mean,
Yeah.
when you see some of the pieces that were done before in terms of really super, I mean, haute horlogerie and super complicated watches especially, is just immense. And some people have kind of forgotten this. I mean, there's a huge legitimacy of the brand within these type of products. So that's on one side, and indeed, 150. I mean, nice date to celebrate, and where it's going from there.
But if they work well, and I'm pretty sure they work well, I mean, they have projects, watch projects in the doors for the next 2 years.
At least, I would say. Yeah.
So, or ready to start, or in pre-launch, or in pre-production.
Yeah.
So, the influence of Ben Amias will last for the next 2 years. At least 1 year.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So 25. So we will really see. So we'll see the influence in between of Ilaria Resta, and see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, I had coming back to the GPHG. I was often sitting next to her during this jury session, and we had interesting talks, and it was
Any
pretty
scoops?
cool. Huh?
Any scoops?
Swiss bank.
All right. Just do that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Anyhow, so we're reaching the end of this prime time. I hope that you like this kind of new interactive format. And well, I had fun doing it.
So if you like him, you say hi. If you don't like me, you put down.
No. All right, so see you guys soon. Again, Hagman report coming out very shortly, within the next few days, and I promise you, is really going to be something, because not only we interviewed him, but we interviewed a few other people that have collaborated either with him or have this kind of a special link with him. I mean, it's just a great piece for a great man. So, see you soon. Thank you, Jean-Christophe, for dropping by. And
Marc-André, thank you very much.
you know the drill. Viva Watchmaking!
As you said, Viva Watchmaking!
There you go. See you guys.